Hey everybody, this is Ryan Needers with Lucid Media coming back to you with the next episode of the Blackheart Paladin. So this is episode 10, and for this one, I have another one that I'm already planning and may even be possibly doing tomorrow with fellow member Brian Skull. But I wanted to talk about um, still obviously with mental health, but the relationships that you make and that you rely on when it comes to dealing with mental health or whatever may be going on. Um, and not to get too far ahead, but all of us been talking about the shirts, so you guys can finally see I had it on today. So these are one of the designs of the Omni Lucid Media T-shirts. So if you guys think they're cool, I definitely do. Nice and soft and comfy and all that. Let us know, and we can definitely get you guys one. Help show your support for us. Any little bit helps. Obviously, we're always trying to, you know, beg and plead for anybody to help us out and show their support, and we definitely do appreciate any of that. But to get into this podcast, so with when I say relationships, I'm not just talking about intimate relationships, your significant other and that. I'm also talking about the relationships you make with other people, whether it be your friends, your family, coworkers, just relationships in general. Um, and those are definitely, your relationships that you have with people are something that you're definitely going to want to know where you stand, have a good idea of what they are before you start trying to rely on people or talk to people about what you might be going through with whatever mental health issue you may have or may be going through at that time if you have multiple. So obviously the easiest one is your significant other, whether that may be girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, whatever it may be. But that's one where you have to realize when you're in that relationship to really be able to look at it and see if you're getting what you need from that. And that's I've talked about before with my Chicago girlfriend, as I'm just gonna keep calling her, so don't have to give out names or any of that. But with her, so when we were dating, it was we definitely cared about each other, and at one time I thought for sure that we were going to get married and all of that, but then after coming back from Iraq and going through everything and slowly seeing the things that were going on, I just started realizing that there may be some things that it just wasn't going to work out with us, which I've said in past podcasts. One of the major things that really scared me was just going out and living in the city, living in Chicago. And that was, something that I identified that this is definitely something that is going to be bad for me. It's something that I don't want. It's going to put me in an uncomfortable spot. So that was a major one. But there are also times when I felt like the issues that I had going on, that they were becoming too big for her, and or maybe that she just didn't know how to handle them, or didn't really know what to say. And that's no fault of hers. It's just she wasn't prepared for that or didn't really know how to go about it. That's actually, that's another one of the reasons that I want to do these podcasts, is because that that same situation may be coming up for other people. Where that your significant other just doesn't know what to do or what to say, and it's not because they don't love you any less or they don't care about you. It's just they just don't know. And that that's one of those things with mental health. It's just it's just not talked about enough. And again, another reason why I like to do these, because it's still such a stigma and it's not talked about enough. So it's kind of those, you can't really fault people for not knowing how to handle it or how to deal with it, because the information's not out there, because nobody talks about it and nobody wants to actually say what's going on. Whether it's fear of making themselves look weak, or just fear of what people are going to think of them. That was a situation for me where it comes to the significant other, was it just turned out that that I wasn't getting what I needed. And at that point, she wasn't able to help me. And unfortunately, it went the way it did. And I made the decision that I needed to get away from that scenario. With, again, moving to Chicago, and the fact that I felt like it was kind of, like I was getting trapped in a situation where I was only bringing her down, but she wasn't able to help me. And in some sense, I think that was probably leading to me. I don't know if it was resentment, but just at a loss. And I'm not even really sure what to call it, because I don't feel like it was resentment, but it was just like I was realizing that. What was going on. I didn't like being the fact that I felt like I was always bringing her down, and that I wasn't able to, make her happy, and all these things that were going on. And it was making her feel bad because she didn't know how, what to say or what to do to make me feel better. And unfortunately, normally when the things that she would say or do, they were just not the things that I needed to hear, and it usually made the situation worse. And again, it's one of those things. She fully meant well. She wasn't saying those things to try and be hurtful or anything like that. It's just she just didn't know what to say. So in that situation, I decided that just wasn't what I needed at that time. And then, then I moved on and met other people, and kind of took from what each situation or each relationship kind of what I needed at the time. As I've talked in the past, I had the hippie girlfriend, I think is what I referred to as her as last time. And from that relationship, I took that I just needed to get out in nature. I needed to be separate in a way, and that was just who she was as a person. Was she liked being out in nature? She liked going on hikes and being more secluded, and so that was another thing that I took from that. So like I said, I kind of took from it what I needed at the time, but again, I realized that it just wasn't, it wasn't the end all be all. And then finally, when I met my wife now, it was like everything clicked. She was saying the right thing. She was there. She was there for me. She was with me through a lot of this stuff, and it just all, it just felt right. And I knew that was definitely what I was looking for. So, unfortunately, it's typically not going to be the first person you meet. You're going to have to, kind of figure it out and go through some rough patches probably. But you always have to, remember to be honest with yourself on these, because, you may really care about someone, and there may even be those points where you're willing to look past certain flaws that someone may have, and everybody has flaws. I mean, obviously I do. Everybody has some sort of flaw. Nobody's perfect. We've all heard that. We all know that's true. But it's like it's just each person kind of the back and forth of, do your flaws meet up, or type of thing, or what are the flaws, and how big of a flaw or a detriment to the relationship is that flaw to each of you as individuals. And you just have to kind of work that out. But I've met plenty of people where they end up either getting in a relationship or staying in a relationship, that and it's just because they're out of fear of being alone. Like they just do not want to be alone, so they start kind of giving into more and more things that are actually making them miserable, or they're unhappy, but they're so terrified to be alone that they're putting themselves in that situation. Now, that's probably not a good situation to be in normally, but now you throw in these mental health issues on top of it, and it just compounds it, and it makes it worse and worse, because now you're having these bad feelings about yourself. You're looking down on yourself, or you're feeling depressed, or you're anxious, or you're paranoid, or whatever it may be going on. Excuse me. And now you're throwing into it that, well, you're taking on these negative values that somebody that you really shouldn't be with. But you're taking them on because you're just so scared to be alone. So, it's one of those things. I kind of get it. Me personally, I don't know if I was ever scared necessarily to be alone. Obviously, I had hoped that I would find somebody one day. I think most people, um, or anybody that's looking for a relationship, which I was, that you're looking for that person. But I don't think I was ever the type to where I was just scared to be alone. I was definitely, when I wasn't seeing anybody, I wasn't just completely uncomfortable with that or anything like that, like some of the people that I've seen and who I'm kind of referring to. um, so it's one of those. It might be a little bit harder for me to understand because that's just not where I really fall on it. But at the same time, like I said, you're only hurting yourself if you stay in those situations out of fear of what may come. So you want to make sure that you pick the right relationships and like this, and pick the right partner or spouse, however you want to refer to them. And that they are somebody that's going to be there, that they're going to be there to help lift you up. That they're going to be able to work through these things with you, because it definitely helps. The more people you can have in your corner, obviously that's going to help when you're dealing with these things. So moving on from that, moving on from spouses or romantic partners, then you have your friends. Friends is a big one. That's just one that I see all the time. And me and my friends, we always talk about, we understand that our friendship seems that it's kind of a rare commodity, which is weird. And to me, it's actually a little sad that it is so rare, because we do have such a good strong bond between me and my friends and our group of friends, that we are as close as we are, and how much we care and look out for each other and all of that. But I see a lot of times how people, and again, I guess this is not to sound judgmental, but I mean, I guess it kind of is, that when I see all the time that people pick these friends, and again, I don't know if it's because they're lonely or because they want to have somebody with them, or just to say, hey, look, I have some friends. But they start picking people that are just they're just not good for them, or they're almost just like leeching off of them. And it's like, oh well, hey, let's be friends, but I only want you to be here for me. I'm not going to give you anything back. I just want you to be here for me, to support me, and it's all about me. And I've seen plenty of people that have the friends like that, and all I can think is just, man, you got to get away from these people. They're just using you, and you're not getting anything back. You're not getting any help from them. It's just all about them, and that's not how a friendship works. A friendship is a relationship. There's give and take. Obviously, I mean, if your friends are going to ask things of you, and that's totally fine, but it's got to be a give and take, where they ask things of you, you go and you help them out, and then hey, you ask them things, they help you out. It's a back and forth. It's not just a all one-sided thing. I mean, just as an example, it'd be pretty shitty if you were the one friend that everybody always asks to, help them move, and everybody hates moving. It's like you're always the friend that shows up to help people move, but when it's your turn, nobody shows up. That's a really shitty feeling. I mean, you want people to be there to help you for things like that, and that's the same thing with mental health, which makes your friendships and who you pick even more. I don't know if I want to say dangerous, but it's pretty crucial that you surround yourself with the right people. Or if you're someone that has a very large group of friends, again, me and my group of friends, we're smaller, but we're very close knit. That's how I prefer it. Obviously, I have other acquaintances outside of my kind of my inner circle, if you want to call them that. And I still try to hold the same people to the same standards, or I guess I technically do. But it's still kind of like inner circle is where those are the people that I really rely on when it comes to the mental health issues, because I know we have been through so much, and we know that we can all count on each other. So that's when if you're trying to look for a support system, you want to make sure that you are that you have a high standard of what your friends should be, and what your friendships should be. It's one of those things when it comes to your mental health, you really, you don't want to go half-assed on it, really. You really want to make sure that you have somebody that is going to be there for you, that they do support you, that they're willing to talk you through this stuff. They may not, they don't necessarily have to understand it even, but the fact that they're willing to sit there and listen, that's a big thing. And obviously, you don't want somebody, that maybe you think is a friend, and you go and you confess all this stuff to them and your thoughts and your feelings, and then they're just going off and blabbing to anybody or everybody that they know, like, oh hey, I got this friend Ryan, and man, he's really messed up. I don't know what's going on in his head. He's got some real demons and just some evil monkeys running around in there or something, whatever you want to call it. So be hold your friends to a certain standard and stick with it. You got to be able to work your way through those types, because there are a lot of people out there that are just they don't care about anyone but themselves. And if that's the person that you're relying on to get you through some of these harder times, it's not going to help you if all they care about is them, because sure enough, they're going to, when you start to complain about maybe something that's going on, you're going to get the, oh my God, like, who cares? Geez, you're always depressed, or, you're always anxious. Why are you like this? Just get better. And, that's just, you don't need the negativity. So moving on from friends, with your family members. Now, again, I'm lucky enough that I have a very good family, a very close family. So, I am able to rely on them, but not everybody has it. There's plenty of people that the family life isn't that great. It may be you don't get along with your dad, your mom, or whatever those issues may be. So it's one of those, make sure that if you are going to talk to if your family is part of your support network, that, they're really there to help you. And that may sound terrible to say, but you have to understand that when going through this stuff, you need the right people, you need the right relationships, and you need the supportive people. The negative, it's already, if you're anything like me going through this, you're already going to be negative and about yourself, and you're going to be beating yourself down, and you're just going to be already, you're going to be hard enough on yourself as it is. So you don't need extra outside influences being negative and putting more negativity into your head and your mindset for this stuff. So you got to be really careful about that, because a lot of people that talk about, oh well, they're my family, so it's okay. Again, I'm lucky enough that is true, that it is family. I can rely on them for everything, but there are plenty of people that's just not true. And if you feel like your family is not the ones for you, again, go back into finding that right, life partner. Go back into finding those right friends. I call my friend, my inner circle of friends, they are my family too. I really think of them that way. So, it's one of those that I'm sure it's a saying on a t-shirt or something, like family is about more than just blood. It really is. You can have family that you just met in school, or that you happen to work with, and they became part of your family. So make sure you're picking the right people to go through this stuff with. And again, if you do have a supportive family, say you are like me and you have that supportive family, you have to remember again too, like I was saying with the Chicago girlfriend, they might just not know what to say or how to say it to you. And sometimes that's like I said, it's just, you can't blame them for that. The important part is that they're trying to be positive and they're trying to help you. Now, unfortunately, with that, if your family is your family, it's not like you can just, break up with your mom or your dad and be like, you know what, I'm going to find a new family. So you might have to give them a little more slack on it, or like I said, maybe that's just maybe they're just not your direct support network. If they are concerned and they're asking, that's great. You let them know what's going on. But remember, a lot of people don't know how to deal with these issues, and they might be totally caught off guard by what you're saying and not understand what you're saying if they've never gone through anything like that. Until all this happened to me, if somebody would have come to me to talk about this stuff, I probably wouldn't have been able to give you as good a perspective. I'm the type of person that I'll listen and I'll try and help you through the issues, but if it's something that I haven't gone through, obviously I can't give you as good advice. Lucky for anyone that may be watching this now, I have gone through it, so I have a better point of view on these things. But not everybody has that. So just remember that when you're picking any of these relationships, or who's going to be your support network, who's going to be your lifeline, whatever it may be. And talking about that, some of the things you can do for these. One of the things that me and actually Brian Skoll do. So he's obviously part of the inner circle with me and does the podcast with me, like Matt as well. Matt's also, the three of us, we're all very good friends and very open about things like this with each other. But one of the things like me and Brian do every single Thursday, I call him every single Thursday. I call him. And we talk just about every single Thursday, unless something may be going on. But for the most part, I'd say there's about a 95% accuracy that we talk every single Thursday. And sometimes it's just to check in, say, hey, how you doing? I'm good. How are you doing? I'm good. Okay. And that's because both of us have gone through, or still do deal with mental health issues. So right there, that's just that lifeline that we can both check in on each other. And again, most of the times we're good, we're fine. We just talk about normal things that friends talk about. And hey, did you see the new episode of Star Trek? Or hey, did you watch the new Rick and Morty? Little stuff like that. But on the days that it's not, or something is going on, maybe having relationship troubles, having something going on in our work life, whatever it may be, we can sit there and talk it out. That's just one of the things that I'm trying to remember how long we've been doing that now. At least feels like a long time, but I don't think it's been quite a year yet. I'm not sure what was actually even going on that caused us to start doing that. I think I might have been going through something, or I can't remember. Maybe he was. I'm not sure. But something happened where one of us was just having a hard time, and he just said, you know what? Let's just every Thursday. Thursday's gonna be our day to talk this stuff out. So if you have someone already that they are kind of your lifeline, set that up. Make time for that to happen. It may not be that long. You may only need to talk for 10, 15 minutes. Me and him usually end up talking for like an hour, sometimes more, just because. But that's something that I always try and give anybody, any of you guys that are watching this, some pointers on things that might help you through this. And that, I guess that would, for this episode of the podcast, that would be set up time to actually either spend time with that person or people if you have multiple, and if you can't spend time with them, then set up a time so that you can at least talk to them. Unfortunately, me and Brian are live pretty far away from each other, so we can't hang out all the time. But just like that, call each other, sit there and talk it out if you have issues going on. And obviously it's not like, oh, hey, well, I'm having a panic attack on Monday, well, dang it, I can't talk to him until Thursday. Still, we obviously call each other if it's kind of an emergency thing, but otherwise we at least both know that we have Thursday coming up to talk these things through. And with us, it works out because we both have, we've both been through these issues, that we can, we both understand what's going on, and we can talk that through. So again, if you haven't been through it and you're just watching these and you're getting some insight, you might be able to, for somebody in your life, then you might be able to tell them these things and, kind of let them know, like, hey, let's do this. Let's talk this stuff out. If you do talk all the time, it might start to give you some insight on issues as to things that are coming up, or maybe because similar things are going to happen. I mean, there's multiple times when it's just, hey, yeah, I'm depressed, okay, now I'm good again. Well, 3 months later, maybe I'm depressed again, and you can call on that, think back on that phone call and say, oh, well, last time you kind of had this, and this time it's a little bit more like this. So what's, kind of work it out with the person. Um, that may, oh, I'm sorry, I almost forgot about, so other relationships would be your coworkers. Obviously, you cannot pick your coworkers. I mean, unless you happen to be the boss and the person hiring people, but most people can't pick their coworkers. With that, my advice about that is just be careful with your coworkers about what you say, unless you do feel comfortable with them, or they fall in this category that I've kind of been talking about. As coworkers, you're under no obligation, and I wouldn't even recommend to just spat out to anybody and everybody like, hey, I got mental health issues and all that. Unless you do know that they're going to be there to kind of help you, because you don't want it to turn into that, they often start telling, oh, they're crazy, man. They're depressed. They got anxiety, man. Did you see them the other day? Oh man, that loud bang because, John knocked over the water cooler and Ryan just hit the ground and was freaking out. Dude, man, it was so weird. It was so scary. Why is he like that? You don't. That's the kind of, that's just a random thing that popped in my head. But still, it's not going to help you. But again, your coworkers are the people that you're probably with 8 hours a day, like I am. They always say, you spend more time with your coworkers than your own family. So hopefully you can find somebody that you can talk to as a coworker in that. But just, again, remember who you're picking. Hold if you are picking people out to be your support when going through this stuff, hold them to a higher standard. Seriously. I mean, you don't want to, again, this is not something you want to slack off about, because it can really hinder you if you don't hold them to a higher standard. And that's where, unfortunately, some people are just, they just don't have somebody there to talk to or listen to in any scenario of their life, whether it's coworkers, friends, family, but whatever. They don't have any of that. Then that's where, you know what, call some of the services that they have for it. Find someone, or go see a psychiatrist, somebody that you can talk to about this and help you work through it. But if you can, it's definitely helpful to have friends, family, relationship, spouse, whoever, to go through this with, because then you have someone there that you can really rely on and lean on as you need to. But that's pretty much it for this one, and hopefully you guys took some good things from this. And like I said, just remember, hold people to a higher standard. Hold yourself to a higher standard when it comes to this stuff, because you got to take care of yourself, and you got to work through this stuff as best you can. And if you have people along to help you with it, it makes it a lot easier. As always, like, share, comment on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, all the places, all the things. Again, we do have the t-shirts, as you can see. They're pretty cool. This happens to be my favorite design. We do have another one that, maybe I'll be wearing next time. And, pick one of those out. But other than that, as always, be excellent to one another. And I'll talk to you next time. Later.